Hi, good afternoon. I just came in again from doing yard work, and I think today I'm going to have a really interesting topic. How about today we discover what we're actually living in? Is it a round Earth, or is it a flat disc world, or is it something else altogether?
Oh, this is going to be a fun one, isn't it? Thank you, David Lee, for sending me this video. You're going to be now in a new section I'm going to call Order of the Bar-stewards. Because you send me something like this, you're definitely a bar steward, aren't you? Let's roll the goddamn intro.
So that's what our topic's going to be today. So hang on to your hats because it's going to get a little bumpy on this one too. Okay, first off, I go to this one program and I always watch him. His name is Martin.
Well, as long as it's not Martin Reich or whatever his name is, the same one that was Flat Earth British, basically. Because someone using him as inspiration would be very fucking scary.
And he does Flat Earth British. And he's always talking about his mud floods and the resets of civilizations.
For anyone who hasn't seen Flat Earth British, here's a very quick sum up of his channel. Oh, that building, yeah, it's got a basement, which means once upon a time that basement was above ground. And yeah, windows, underground windows means mud flood. Oh, windows, windows, windows! I think that was quite accurate.
And I find it very interesting because in order for me to go look at things, I have to have questions posed so I can go look, because I don't think of everything to look at.
I think we're already starting to grasp that thinking isn't going to be your strong point.
So when I came across him, it's like, oh, I'll start looking into this. And so I did. And what I found was quite interesting.
You keep using the word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
Well, I do suppose some people do find quite stupid things interesting. Look at most flat earthers.
Okay, so here we go. First off, we're in a matrix. And in the matrix, everything is created with our belief system. We're actually creating our matrix.
The Matrix is a system, Neo.
You crazy people really do love that film, don't you? You know it's a film, it's not real. As much as you like to think it was, and you can take the red pill, blue pill, and all that shit, no. Just fucking no.
But we're not the only ones. This matrix has been around for a long time, and it was created a long time ago. And we are fed new things to try to recreate the matrix.
Who created the Matrix? Who controls the Matrix? What is the purpose of the Matrix? Who is feeding us this new information that gives us more information about how to make the Matrix? The questions needed to be answered before you can come up with something harebrainedly crazy as this is fucking unimaginable.
But there's such an old belief system going on that old matrix is still holding its, I just call it its reality. So let's go look at what we're actually in.
An LSD super trip.
From what I have seen, we are not in completely either one of them, but both of them. A round ball and a flat disc.
You cheeky dick waffle.
I'm gonna love to see how we're on the outside of a large, round, spinning planet, but also on a flat, stationary disc. This is gonna be, wow. I'm gonna need more drugs. Shame I don't have any drugs.
And this is how it works. First off, let's start at the outside. On the outside of this entire thing is a huge toroidal field. You can call it the Van Allen belt. A toroidal field is actually being produced by negative and positive energy running, but it actually runs like this inside of this thing we're in. Let's just call it big toroidal field. Okay, so this is creating the outer toroidal field. Okay.
Okay, so we have one of these. Let's see if you can explain a bit quicker on the next bits. I might have to speed you up a bit.
Next thing is, when you look down in, or even straight on, we're kind of shaped like an eyeball, the top of an eyeball. And then underneath is kind of like this.
Okay, so now we've got something like this. Yeah. It's starting to look a bit weird.
Isn't it, with an eyeball? And this is the whole landmass with a huge toroidal field over it. But now here's where it gets really interesting. Where we are located on that, if you flipped it over, it's kind of like this world, except it's got a bottom to it. We're in the middle of it, the very middle, because there's actually a toroidal field around us. We would consider that our Earth, except we're not a ball. We're in a small piece of the bigger Earth. Yeah, let's call it that. And we're in the middle.
Yes, because that doesn't sound crazy at all. And what evidence do you have for this? Or is it just like, yes? No, that's not evidence. Yes, it is. I say so. Yes. Woo, drugs.
Before we go any further in that subject, what do you think is outside of the toroidal field around all of this? Water. Salt water.
Why salt water? And what made the water salty? Because you can't just say, yes, salt water. What made it salty? Well, it's just water that's got salt in it. Where did the salt come from? And why? Oh, fucking hell.
You've always been told space is a vacuum. No, it's not. Space, from what I'm seeing, is salt water. Yeah, how did you ever guess? As above, so below. You wonder where they come up with these things, because they're true.
So, if the saying as above, so below is true, then does that mean above that salt water is more rock? And then above that rock would be more salt water with more rock and people living on it? Are we in a hollow earth? Good God, this whole idea is just getting completely out of hand.
So basically, these toroidal fields, these domes, are protecting us from being washed out with water. This was all artificially designed anyway. And don't forget, we're still in the Matrix.
So hang on. Are these toroidal fields in the Matrix or in the real world? And if they're in the Matrix, does that just mean they're a computer construct and they can put whatever the fuck they want there? So in which case, the salt water that you say is salt water could just be jelly beans for all it fucking mattered. Because it's a computer construct that we're in inside the Matrix. We're not actually on this flat earthy weirdy thing. And you've actually got no idea what is outside of the Matrix because you're in the Matrix. It's just whatever the computer wants to make you think is inside the Matrix because it's inside the Matrix. So we could actually just be living on a ball and the robots did rebel and the Matrix is actually real. Who knows?
Woo, it's pretty deep, huh? So let's get to the next thing. Aliens.
No, okay, I'm not saying it's space aliens, right? But it goes without saying it's fucking space aliens!
Hang on, aliens? But if we're in the Matrix, aren't the aliens just injected into the computer program for us to think there's aliens when really there's no aliens because we're in a computer program and there wouldn't be aliens in a computer program unless they put the aliens in the computer program to make you think there was aliens?
And let's categorize these because there's actually different types. Let's call the ones that are having the physical bodies, let's call them extraterrestrials.
So there's different kind of aliens. Okay, so we'll just call the aliens that have got bodies extraterrestrials. Okay, what we basically call aliens now, really.
Now, there are beings that are from outside in the salted water, and they don't carry physical bodies. And yes, there are beings outside of there too, because in the end, we are just energy beings.
You really are deep down this rabbit hole of fucking batshit craziness, aren't you? Where is the mud flood? The whole point of doing this video is mud flood, and we don't even got to it yet. And I think we're about halfway through this fucking video. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yes, and they're just not residing in a physical body. Some of them kind of look like they have a wispy kind of a body, but it's still an energy being. It's not solid like this. Like I said, solidity was our biggest achievement because we're not solid.
All these squares make a circle. All these squares make a circle.
Exactly, Mr. Popo. At least right now you're making more sense than she is.
And the thing of it is, a lot of the people who work for the government have also been lied to by letting them think that and believe that they're in outer space. No, they're on the bigger Earth.
Hang on. So the bigger Earth, if the people are being lied to but they think they're in space, the bigger Earth must then be above our Earth so they can look down on it, but with no gravity so they don't have gravity effects in space. And also, yeah, that's just fucking crazy.
So then you have to ask, if they're outside of our toroidal field, if it's water, how are there asteroids coming in and then killing the dinosaurs and doing all this stuff. Because it's not asteroids, it's other things that are in the air that are coming down. Sometimes they're craft, sometimes there are things thrown at us to create devastation. But as far as asteroids, the whole thing is BS.
Now, the only reason you call any of this BS is because it doesn't agree with your model. You're like, yes, it's a toroidal, flat, weird thing with things outside and salt water. But I've got no evidence for any of that, and it's just like, yes, because I said so, and because Martin Iddick said so. No. Just no. You can go and fucking look at the ISS. You can watch a meteor shower. And if you'd say, yeah, it's aliens throwing shit at us, just sounds fucking stupid.
And then going to places like Saturn and Mars, that's on the bigger Earth. That's all on the bigger Earth. Those places are real, but they're on the bigger Earth. They're not out there billions of miles away. No, they're not. So there are things out there, but a lot of stuff that we've been told is actually just outside of us, outside of our field of reality, outside of our dome.
You are quite possibly one of the craziest people I have ever seen on one of these videos. The claims are just fucking batshit crazy, and there's nothing to go with them. I'm going to skip forward. Let's find where the mud flood is. This is why I got sent this video. And David Lee, you're evil for sending me this video, because wow. Wow, she's nuts.
So now we're going to talk about mud floods.
About goddamn time. We're what? 13 odd minutes into this video. Fuck my life.
I'm going to go into a little bit of detail of how these resets for these civilizations were caused by these mud floods. Inside of this landmass, there are caverns that go to outside of this dome, and there are oceans out there, and there are like doorways that were made. You can just call them like if you were going to make a dam. And at given points, these other beings had created the malevolent ones, not the good ones, to flood out the world that we live in.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
So, the aliens that created our world also made caverns to be able to flood our world. But don't forget, all this is going on inside the Matrix. So who made the caverns? We obviously made the caverns in our Matrix so we could flood ourselves. Ooh. Of course, none of this is real because we're in the Matrix. Well, how many conspiracies are you following? It really is nutball crazy in your head, isn't it?
That's why we have epicenters underneath the ocean where you can see things were built. It's point blank in your face, and you're like, how did it get under the ocean?
Ice ages and rising sea levels. These aren't difficult concepts.
It's because these floodgates were opened and these mud floods were allowed to happen so they could get rid of civilizations and then do a reset and start over. So all of these, the reason the water came in to begin with is because it was allowed in.
It was allowed in by the aliens who were in the Matrix. Of course it was. And your proof for this is there happens to be buildings either underwater, which, based on what we understand about sea levels and things, weren't underwater all the time, or the fact that buildings have basements. Now, I have a cellar for the pub. Does that mean that my area is now a mud flood area? Why is this mud flood area never constant throughout the world? You could live on the top of a hill and have a basement and it's still like, yes, mud flood. But then the ones at the bottom of the hill that don't have basements, yeah, but they're older. It makes no sense. The whole thing makes no sense.
So that's where the Noah's flood came in and all these other floods came in, because before we actually resided here as we are in our state, the energy beings resided in an ammonia silicon world.
You okay, Vegeta?
Yes, just an aneurysm out of sheer stupidity.
Wow. I didn't think you were that stupid, Vegeta.
Now, while there is the scientific possibility that there are silicon-based life forms throughout the galaxy somewhere, or even in the universe, there's no evidence for it on Earth at fucking all. None. Just absolutely none. It's one of those hypothesis-y theory thingy-mabobbies that have got, like, yeah, some benefits. Yeah, we could understand it could work, but we've got no evidence of it actually working.
And ammonia doesn't mix. I mean, it looks like water, but it's not. It doesn't mix with water. And if you put the ammonia and the water together with other elements, it can instantly petrify anything.
Now we have to be thorough and check, does ammonia instantly petrify things? Guess what? It fucking doesn't. Yay! Now you can instantly petrify things using a mixture of hydrochloric acid over a couple of days and then a silica compoundy thing and drying the wood back out. But that's obviously not what she means. And just, wow, you're nuts.
So that's why you're finding footprints and huge footprints as big as I am, bigger.
Yeah, the footprints that we're finding that are bigger than you are from the dinosaurs. But in your understanding, why would there be any footprints? Because these beings didn't have physical bodies. Remember, we were the first ones to have the physical bodies. Before that, they didn't have the physical bodies. Or did you forget about the physical bodies that these things don't have when you said they don't have physical bodies? Because that was our greatest advancement, was getting physical bodies. Or you just getting very confused on all your takes of different woos?
And you're finding, it looks like chopped off trees, and there were mountains. And because at one point, this snow globe, that's why I call it a snow globe, because of the toroidal field and where we are in the middle, had a different kind of life in it. It wasn't carbon based. It was something else. It was on the opposite end, whatever.
Of course you think mountains are giant trees. Why the fuck wouldn't you think mountains are giant trees with lots of carbon in them in a silicon-based environment? You are nuts. You are absolutely... I'm giving you one more minute. And if it isn't complete and utter craziness, we might do a bit more. But I'm not holding out any fucking hope.
So that's a very interesting subject too. But as far as the mud floods go, yeah, they just open up the floodgates from the bigger earth and they flood the reality. And it's just terrible. It's terrible. So this is why it was actually done. And it's been going for a long time. So hopefully that will be nipped in the bud by the beings that are manipulating and using us as a workforce, which is another thing. One of the main reasons that we are here is to produce. We're good at making things. And so think about all the things that get manufactured in a year from every walk of life. You think that we're just the only ones using all of this? No, we're not. It's going to the bigger earth.
Right, okay. And do the bigger earth pay for these things? Have we got like trade deals with the bigger earth? These aliens like paying the companies, here is your $7 million. We will take these computers now. Thank you very much. We don't actually have physical bodies, or we're the ones that would have physical bodies, but we live underwater. But this stuff waterproof. Yes, Apple very waterproof. No break, no? Okay. You are nutball fucking crazy. Oh my good God. What is your evidence for any of this? Or is it Martin Dyke's fucking videos? Or the aliens came and spoke to me? I think a possible trip to the doctors might be in order. And just explain to him these theories. There may be some medication available. Or just some counselling. Or I don't fucking know. I really don't, because... Wow! And you mentioned earlier about that these astronauts aren't going to Mars and things, they're just going to other big Earths or other places just outside of our toroidal fields. How can we look up at Mars with the telescope? How can you see these things if they're not really there, if it's just on this big giant Earth thing? I don't think you've actually thought any of this through, have you? It's... Wow. To be fair, I needed a good laugh this week. This has been really fucking nutball crazy, but funny as hell. Oh, but David Lee, thank you very much for sending me this video. You are now an official member of the Bar-stewards. If you would like to join the Bar-stewards, please leave me a video down below. If you've previously left me a video, I'm sorry, I'm starting this list afresh. I will have eventually a little scrolly thing as more bar stewards become available. So, David Lee, you are the first official member. I'd also like to thank my Patreons, Dorian Brooker and Stinger News 1. Thank you very much for that. If you'd like to join my Patrons, again, link in the description below, or buy my hoodies, t-shirts, anything like that. We'll be back on Friday for a quiz. All should be fine this week. I've got no idea who's playing in the quiz. We'll dig someone up. It's fine. We'll maybe get one of these artificial beings who don't have bodies. Then they can't press the buzzer, and then whoever else they're playing will win. Yay! But thank you very much. I've been the Sarcastic Barman. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe down below, and we'll see you on the next one. Good night.
Fuck you, you're a fucking wanker. We're gonna punch you right in the balls. Fuck you with a fucking anchor. You're all cunts, so fuck you.